Good afternoon. Welcome to New Release Friday on Generation Movie. My name is JW Colwell. I am alone. That's okay. We're gonna talk about a new release, and then we're also going to talk about first episode of Daredevil season 2, episode 1, which was pretty great. A little bit of news first, and they got so close. Mario Galaxy opens next Wednesday. Very close to actually being able to keep a secret and do great with it. But in true epic dumb fashion, they've ruined it. Star Fox will appear in Super Mario Galaxy. It was just announced. As what can only be described as a way to build for a Super Smash Brothers movie. I mean, that's where we're headed. I would imagine we're going to face a giant hand or something. But basically, Star Fox is in the new movie, and it's a major character, and it's going places because the voice of Star Fox, Fox McCloud, is going to be Glenn Powell. So, it's not just a one-off if they're giving one of the bigger actors, kind of dominating Hollywood right now. You're basically giving him a full carte blanche, and it could be the next big thing where we're looking at a Smash Brothers movie. This is a live show. Thank you for joining us. I see some people watching. If you like and subscribe to the Indie Escape Network, you get all of our review shows. You get all of our stuff, including Generation Movie, which is our movie history show that we do every Monday night. Me and Rich Dries of the Philadelphia Film Critics Association. I do it every week. This week we got coming up, we have The Color of Money, one of the greatest legacy sequels ever made. We did The Hustler last weekend. We also, every Tuesday night, have a show called Loud and Nerdy, which is a pop culture and news and talk and chat, fighting about, the ways to watch Star Wars movies and all kinds of stuff like that. That's on Tuesday. Every 2 weeks, every other Thursday, we have Untrained and Unscripted with Ryan West and Joe Ridgely. So we have plenty of shows. If you like what you see today, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything to do, and it helps us out immensely. But today we will be talking on New Release Friday. We'll be talking about this movie, They Will Kill You, which is a new movie from Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti, the producers of It. It's a horror film. It's from New Line. It's got a little bit of everything. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking a little bit about Daredevil Born Again season 2 episode 1, just to get our beaks wet a little bit on the Daredevil hype, because how could you not get hyped about that particular poster right there? And also, I'm beginning to think that Charlie Cox and Vincent Onofrio are two of the better Marvel castings that we've not talked about enough as we progress towards Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. So without further ado, let's talk They Will Kill You. And there were a series of posters. So this movie kind of hit last at South by Southwest last year. And it's, Zazie Beetz, who is in Deadpool 2. It's got a good cast. It's got, a young director that is trying things. It has a young singer named Mahala, who's also part of it. It's got Tom Felton, Heather Graham, Patricia Arquette. And basically what it is this little movie where, a sister is trying to find her sister. So it's both a revenge movie and a cult, like a satanic cult movie, and a Kill Bill action movie, and it's fun. It kind of wears out its welcome, and it kind of, goes so far over the top that you kind of like sit back and go, okay, what are we trying to do? And whereas the violence in something like Kill Bill is, uber violent, just like this movie is. Whereas this movie, the violence is kind of it's not justified. It doesn't give you the kind of visceral thrill that you would normally get from violence of this type. It is excessive. It is crazy. It is, kind of ghastly, and people being hit with like flaming axes and all kinds of action. But the movie itself, basically follows a woman who gets hired to become a maid for a ultra exclusive condo in New York City called the Virgil. When she gets hired, we find out through bits and pieces that she is getting hired to basically be ritualized and sacrificed to Satan. But of course, there's a lot more going on underneath. She has a sister that she's been trying to track down. She thinks the sister might be there. All of these things kind of play into the idea that it's got John Wickian vibes. It's got Kill Bill vibes. And what I would say is they're derivative. It's a derivative movie, but it's never as good as any of those movies are. And the interesting thing is the casting. It has all of these very big players. It has Patricia Arquette and Tom Felton from Harry Potter and Heather Graham from Boogie Nights and all these people, but they never get off the page. They never, it never becomes, there's a couple of extended sequences that are very kind of super cool, shot in the side where people are crawling through like tunnel spaces underneath the Virgil. And then various, there's different floors that have all kinds of different things going on, but it never gets into it. It never kind of plumbs the depths of what we're looking at. And Zazie Beetz is this hardened, battle scarred, from prison, looking for somebody in this hellhole of a place with a lot of very rich, very elite, and very kind of spooky characters. And so it never really gets off the ground. It gets off the ground, it can get you going, but it's like an amalgam of all of its parts that aren't as good as the parts it's taking from better movies. It's fun. It is, in 2026, it is always fun to see satanic cultists torn apart by a woman, by a strong female heroine in a film, a la Ready or Not, or Ready or Not 2, either one, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of one of the interesting kind of sidelights to this movie is that in this particular day and age right now that we're living in 2026 in the, in film, the biggest, boldest bad guys we have are satanic cultists, rich satanic cultists that are preying on poor people is where we're at. And, we see so many movies with it. It's kind of becoming, they are the new villain. In the 80s, we used to have easy villains. They were Nazis or they were communists or, we had a wide variety of things. But in this day and age, apparently every villain we're going to see, we've had 2 movies in a row the last 2 weeks where the villains are rich, satanic cultists who, to get their wealth and favorable lifestyle, they have sold their souls to the devil. I think it's an interesting kind of place where we're at. But like I said, the violence is swift. There's a lot of it. Zazie Beetz is more than game to be a final girl versus, a hotel full of rich satanic cultists. But what I would say is one of the film's choices kind of diffuses any kind of tension. And it diffuses the tension that you have in, like, say, Kill Bill in the House of Blue Leaves. The House of, where she's fighting all those people and they're all like, she's maiming and chopping and maiming and chopping. That gets diffused by this movie. And I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to ruin it. You'll know it when you get there. And once that happens the first time, it becomes comical, but not in the good way. Like, it becomes like, okay, so how is she going to get out of this? And also, all of that cool violence that happens in every scene, you have to take it with a grain. Have to take it with a grain of salt. Hello, I don't know what you're saying. I don't, it looks to be Russian. Welcome. Hello. But basically, it just kind of, it diffuses any of the tension you have in any of the action scenes because of a critical choice the director makes. That kind of spring forward. The first time it happens, you're just like, oh. And then, unless, they kind of come up with a way to get it exciting the second and third time, but by the fourth time, it's a mess. To the point where it can't be as fun. It's not as enjoyable. You're like, okay, well, if that, there's a sequence where we know that there's, like, they give away the plot, and then there's a sequence, and then there's another sequence, and then another sequence, and another sequence. But if we know what the end of the sequence is, it diffuses any tension. And it also takes away from, if you're watching abject violence like the John Wick movies or Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, or which this movie is clearly derivative, or even Ready or Not, right? Where the violence has consequences and the violence has, people are dying and you're watching your hero go, like, slice through people. If they don't have a consequence, it diffuses the movie. And like I said, and one of the other big detriments to the movie, and again, it's fun. Andy Muschietti and Barbara Muschietti are producing. It's directed by a guy named Kirill Sokolov. And he's seen a lot of movies. There are a ton of references to other better movies. There's a Sam Raimi reference. There is, a Sam Raimi reference with a particular body part that, clearly Sam Raimi. There are references to slasher movies. There's references to haunted hotel movies. He's seen a lot of movies. He loves movies. He's clearly also seen Kill Bill and John Wick, because the action sequences are shot that way. They're done slow motion, watching the character, get from point A to point B in a room. Also, every time you go into a room of the Virgil in this movie, you're looking for what's going to get used in this room's action sequence. And it's fun, but as it slowly progresses through, it becomes slightly monotonous. And not like, and it's a choice. The reason it becomes monotonous is because the audience knows something, and the characters know it. The characters are told something immediately. And once it happens the first time, you're just like, oh, okay, well, that's how this is going to go. It puts your main character, your final girl heroine, in trouble, but it doesn't solve the problem of diminishing returns on the action sequences and the drama inherent to the action sequences, of her submitting violence to these people, these rich people who are all hail Satan kind of folks. And like I said, it looks good. It's shot well. One of the other big problems is that all the people that are in it, Zazie Beetz is great. Mahala is great as her sister. It has character names across the bottom telling their stories. It has a name of the name of the hotel across the bottom telling its story. The other big problem that I haven't talked about yet is all of the major cast members, like say Heather Graham right here, or Tom Felton right here, or Patricia Arquette. They're all kind of interchangeable. They're not. There's nothing that propels those characters. Their stories aren't compelling. They're not like a good villain in a John Wick movie, or a good villain in say Ready or Not, or a good villain in Kill Bill, especially with all the named villains in Kill Bill. They all have certain, they have an aura, and they have a characteristic or a charisma that makes them exciting. And nothing kind of does that for these characters. They're all kind of, they're wearing their cloaks and their little piggy masks, and they're all eminently interchangeable, except for Beetz and her sister, who come across great, and they have stuff that they're going to play with, and things they're going to do. But it becomes interchangeable. Hello from Algeria. Pleasure. Hope everything is going well in your part of the world. Pleasure to meet you. So we have a very international crowd today. Pretty cool. Algeria, and I would assume somewhere in Eastern Europe. Anyway, but so it doesn't coalesce. The drama isn't there. So when you go and watch a movie like Kill Bill, and you get into the scenes where she's fighting numerous people and she's cutting off arms, cutting off legs, chop, 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 chop. It doesn't have the same drama. And so it becomes like a pale imitation as opposed to a homage that I think what the director was going for. But it does have homages to a lot of movies. And I think you could do a lot worse watching a movie. It's fun. It's just not it's not great. And so it is the first film under Andy and Barbara Machetti's new production company, Nocturna. They're working with New Line here, and I think the goal is to make a fun, cool, hip action horror film, and it just kind of misses, just ever so slightly misses. But you'll have fun at it. But it's not as good as Ready or Not 2 or Ready or Not, and it's not as good as, certainly not as good as Kill Bill or John Wick. So, and immediately they take all the consequences away. So the drama gets neglected. Now it is fun again to watch a strong prison ready female character hack up rich Satanists in 2026. Never not going to be fun. But it's just it's diminishing returns on all fronts. And while there is a cool ending that I'm not going to give away, there is a big bad, so to speak. Even the big bad gets a little boring during the big fight. So it's just very close. It's ever so close to being good, but it isn't. Okay, now let's talk about something that is good. And we need to talk about more. Daredevil Season 2, Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 1 premiered. Name of the episode is called The Northern Star. It's written by Dario Scardapane, who is the showrunner. And last we checked on our intrepid Matt Murdock, him and Karen had gotten back together. They are now fully together in this episode. But as you know, this guy and his wife, Wilson Fisk, played by the amazing Vincent Onofrio, and his wife are running New York City. And so you have the rot of all the corruption that Kingpin brings to the table. You also have the idea that he has a vigilante squad that is, making New York safe again by bringing in vigilantes. We're about to have vigilante trials. So it takes place about probably 6 to 8 to 10 months after the end of season 1. And basically this episode, called The Northern Star, involves Fisk basically trying to find Daredevil. Daredevil infiltrates a ship called the Northern Star. It's a cargo ship carrying military-grade weapons. Basically, the port that was in the end of season 1 has been set up as a place to bring in, smuggle things into the United States proper. And Fisk is the person you have to talk to in this regard. Now, this season has promised us we're going to have Daredevil, we're going to have Jessica Jones, played by Kristen Ritter, who cannot wait for her to get back. But it is shaping up to be a Wilson Fisk versus Matt Murdock kind of season. So basically, they have a port, and what they're told, the captain and the first mate are told, is if anybody gets onto the ship, it is meant to be sunk. So they sink it. They basically, all the munitions and things that are on it are left on it. And basically the Anti-Vigilante Task Force, the AVTF, basically starts to get carte blanche. They won't be interfered with by anybody in New York State leadership. And because there's a CIA operative played by the amazing Matthew Lillard, who has ties to someone big and powerful in the MCU. I think it might be Julia Louis-Dreyfus. We don't know who he's talking to, but basically everybody's been told to lay off of Wilson Fisk. And so Kingpin has carte blanche to run the city into the ground, but the rot has started to seep in. We also have the side story where the reporter she is working with Daredevil. She is on the inside with Fisk's younger protege, who is living the life, right? Played by Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's son. And that is going to come to a head at some point as well. But she is not only running the report that praises Fisk and his newfound creation of making New York better, but she is also running a report that is tearing Kingpin Wilson Fisk down. All for a great setup of a first episode of where we're headed. The Northern Star is, basically Matt Murdock and Karen underground. Matt Murdock's girlfriend, Heather Glenn, who, clearly suffered trauma from her fight with the serial killer Muse last season, is on the wrong path, right? She's with Fisk. She is now the psychiatrist for a very corrupt deputy attorney, somebody who's doing a district attorney, I should say, who's doing all of these things. And Jack DeCane, the swordsman, who was captured in season 1, he's now on trial, and she actually falsifies records for him. She changes answers to his own questions. It also deals with Matt and having the two sides of Matt, because Matt Murdock can't be there. Daredevil is now his primary persona. And so he's not there for his law firm. And even the people that, who are working with him, like the detective from season 1, Sherry, who's like been his kind of man on the inside, who's no longer part of the police, even he's in trouble, right? And the episode ends with a major Daredevil villain saving Matt. It's phenomenal. It like the show is, exceptional. One of the things I want to say that needs to be clipped and talked about is I don't think we've talked enough about how good Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox are as Matt and as Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, or as Daredevil and Kingpin. We haven't talked enough about how perfect that casting was, how great the casting was from Marvel to get these two guys into these two roles. They have amazing chemistry when they've been on screen together. Deborah Ann Wool, who plays Karen, coming off of Foggy's death, and Matt coming off of Foggy's death, and Matt coming off of having to go underground. They're going to play up a relationship there. Everything points to this season being as good, if not better, than season 1, which season 1 was some of the best things Marvel has put out recently, since the multiverse saga began. Also, just in case you're wondering, they did release a really cool way to show you the episode chart. They put out this ad, New York Bulletin, ordinance from Mayor Fisk. All citizens must watch Daredevil Born Again Season 2, 6 p.m., which is 9 p.m. Eastern. But these are the episodes. And they gave away a big teaser. So first episode, Northern Star, March 24th. 2 episodes next week, March 31st. We have Shoot the Moon and the Scales and the Sword. April 7th, we have Gloves Off. April 14th, we have The Grand Design. April 21st, Requiem. April 28th, The Hateful Darkness. And May 5th, The Southern Cross, which will all lead into May 12th, a full-length Punisher movie called One Last Kill, where I think these Marvel shows, these two, like the Defenders Marvel Universe is boiling. It is bubbling. Matt Murdock, we're going to get the black suit. We're going to get the double Ds in red. I can't express how excited I am about this show. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an episode review every Friday along with my new movie reviews. I did it today because I was thinking I only have one movie to do. They Will Kill You. But I think maybe we'll add it to the mix on Fridays. So we'll do a little Daredevil talk. This episode, Northern Star, really gets it going. Puts villains in hero roles, puts heroes in villain roles. Matt's former girlfriend Heather Glenn has taken a dark turn after her big feud, like her big kind of like her attack from Muse. I just think there's a lot going on. It's going to be a great season. And I appreciate you spending your Friday afternoons or Friday just finding out what's coming out, what's going. They Will Kill You fun, derivative, not nearly as good as the parts from other movies that it uses. And Daredevil Born Again Season 2, it is must-watch television because Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk have been brought so vividly to life by Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio that you can't not look away. When you add other pieces, you had Matt Lilliard, who's playing a CIA operative. We don't know who he's connected to, but it's a major player in the MCU. I think it might be Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I don't know. Once you add all those pieces, also, can I point out full white suits and white jackets and full Kingpin, full comic book Kingpin. You know, the white of a fake hero, of the ultimate villain. But if you like what you saw here, if you like our pledge to be a place where creatives unite, join us for Generation Movie on a Monday night. Where this Monday we'll be doing the Color of Money, talking about one of the great legacy sequels of all time. Join us on a Tuesday night at 9 p.m. live for Loud and Nerdy, where we're talking about all the fun stuff, like why did we release a poster of Fox McCloud when we were so close to getting to it and not having any talk about a Smash Brothers movie until maybe the cutscene Wednesday for Super Mario Galaxy. Or join us every second Thursday with Riot Ryan West and Joe Ridgely. Did a great show last night about AI. Join us, like and subscribe. I want to thank you for joining me on a Friday afternoon today. Enjoy your weekend. Go see a movie. Go see something. If you don't want to see, or if you want to see, satanic people cut up by other people, Ready or Not 2 is still out there. But the big movie that's out there that everyone should see on a big screen, the biggest you can find, the loudest you can find, Project Hail Mary is a winner. It is the movie everybody's talking about, as they should be. It's great. Ryan Gosling's fantastic. Rocky is the stuff of movie legends that we talk about. Have a great weekend. We'll see everybody next week for New Release Friday. Thank you. My name is JW Colwell. This has been Generation Movie. Have a great weekend. Enjoy.